There are so few things that we actually truly have control over. And yet, that doesn't mean that your life, your work, the things that you do have to be in complete chaos. Because as we know from last week, chaos leaves us with nothing but feeling stuck and uncertain and trying to figure it out. There is the opportunity to have some control. So we're going to talk about our topic this week is I'm free, having control, and much more on episode 864 of today's Antidote.
Stay tuned for today's Antidote, brought to you by the Renegade Success Network. Today's Antidote features a healthy dose of thought-provoking insights and information for business owners, entrepreneurs, leaders, and nonprofit professionals. Each day since March of 2020, this program has offered that one thing to help you continue on your own unique pathway to success. And now, Renegades, we bring you Bob Graham and Tom Brush.
Hey, Tom, I'm outside in the world again. Haven't done this in forever.
They finally let you out of the bunker and then the penthouse, huh?
That's right. No bunker, no penthouse today. I'm out. The sun's coming up. I've got a nice pole right behind me that if I stand in the right way, it looks like I have a pole coming out of my head, or it can come out of my shoulder, or it can be this. So many options.
Oh, the things we think about.
Well, I'm in control or not in control. I'm free, not free. I don't know.
Yeah. And yet I'm sure you could have had some control where the pole wasn't in the background.
Yeah, I could have. I was trying to think about the sun more than anything else.
So you might have gotten a little stuck worried about the sun?
I think, yes, I did. Now it's starting to come out.
Fair enough. So,
all right. How are you?
Well, I'm doing well, thanks.
Good.
Yes. All right, everyone, good morning and welcome to today's Antidote, our daily broadcast and podcast. Each week, Bob and I have a conversation around a topic. This week's topic, as I briefly mentioned, is I'm free. Last week, we talked about I'm stuck and all the things that get us stuck. And so today, we're going to talk a little bit about, this week, we're going to talk about how we can get unstuck and we can start to feel that freedom again to be able to take our next steps. And we're going to talk and dive in a little bit more today about having control and what that means. And as we go through that conversation, we welcome your thoughts and ideas because we know that'll add value to the conversation. And likely it will have an impact on the conversation as we go through it. So please feel free to share your comments. At the conclusion of that conversation, Bob and I will each offer our one thing, our today's antidote. That thing that we hope when you receive it, you will not feel stuck anymore and you'll be able to say, I am free. I have some control so that you can take your next step along your own unique pathway to success. And of course, if you have a one thing to share, please feel free to share it as well, because there might be someone out there who can't quite hear what we're saying. And yet when you share your value, they actually can hear it and it helps free them. So please feel free to share your thoughts and ideas. Before we dive into that conversation, though, each morning, Bob and I share our celebrations. So, Bob, what are you celebrating today?
I'm going to celebrate that yesterday I was out in a small town, Ellicott City, Maryland, walking around and went into a whole bunch of little shops. And I can tell you, retail America is doing pretty well. They were busy. It was hopping. There were a lot of people buying things, went into some antique shops, went into a really nice distillery and had a nice beverage of my choosing, and went into some other shops. It was really nice. And, we hear all these things about brick and mortar stores, but you go into a little town and things are really flourishing. And it's fun, too.
Fascinating. So did you contribute to the economy outside of your beverage?
Lunch and a couple beverages was the bulk of it, yes.
Got it. All right.
Yes. How about what are you celebrating?
I'm celebrating that someone that I know has an opportunity this week. And I know that it will be a difficult choice for them. And so I'm going to celebrate the fact that they are going to make a choice. Hopefully they'll be able to figure out what's real for them and make a choice. And so I'm going to celebrate that opportunity for them.
I have no idea what you're talking about.
I think that was intentional.
And the curious one in me wants to know, but that's okay. I'll move on. Well, that's exciting. It is nice to have choices, right?
It is nice to have choices and to have the ability to make a decision and have some control over what you do and what you want to do. And so, and the it's just something that's coming up that not a lot of people know about. And so that's why I was vague.
Okay. All right. Interesting.
I've got you perplexed. You don't know what to do with
that. I really don't.
Because it could be me.
What's that?
Could be. I could be the person. Could be.
Possibly.
Maybe it's you.
Yeah. I don't even know what to do with all that.
There is nothing more fun than especially when you're outside. You're just like uncertain what to do next.
Well, there's a slight delay in this, and I also have the usual people looking at me like, what's he doing, staring at his phone on the side of his car.
It's funny, you would think that would go away. I mean, the number of people who pull their phones out and do whatever they do, you would think that it would stop being something of interest. Just be like, oh yeah, there's somebody else doing it. Just go on.
Right. Yeah. Who knows? So let's talk about the topic.
Fair enough.
So I'm struggling because it says I'm free, and then it also says in control, right?
It says having control.
Okay, so those two don't seem like they work together for me. So help me understand.
Well, a lot of people find that when things are in chaos, everything seems out of control, and so they are just stuck because they don't know what to do next. Right? If you're sitting at your desk and you got 15 things that you feel like you need to do, your to-do list is longer than you know what to do with it. And you can't figure out what you're going to do first, which is most important. All you can think about is all you have to do. And you're stuck, which is what we talked about last week, right? And Monday we talked about chaos and how chaos creates us getting stuck. Well, there is the opportunity that we can have some control over the things we do. As we talk about all the time, there are a lot of things we don't have control over. We do have some control over the things we do, which I think helps eliminate some of the chaos and being stuck. So if I have my to-do list and I finally decide, okay, this is the one I'm going to do, I've created some control, and it also allows me to free me up to actually do it. Does that make any sense?
It does. Wow. I didn't see that going that way. Huh. Because I was thinking of being free as just being able to do whatever I want, which would be not having control. Oh, I guess it is control in the sense that I could choose. But I think of being free as just sort of flitting around doing whatever, like a bird flying in the sky.
And are you really free, or are you stuck because you could do anything and you can't choose which thing to do?
Well, I think that's what typically happens. I think that's what happens when you become a new business owner, right? You think that you're free. Oh, I don't have a boss telling me what to do. I don't have to be at work at a certain time. I don't have to charge what they charge. I don't have to do all those things that my company required of me. So now I'm on my own. And what happens to so many business owners? They struggle with that. There's so much freedom. It's just like, the student that goes to college. That first semester of college, when they go away from home, can be quite the wild experience because they have all this freedom, and I guess they haven't built the systems.
Is this from personal experience?
Well, I almost got expelled because my two roommates were dealing drugs. So yes, that was my personal experience. That's a story for another day.
Well, I think it's an interesting take on what freedom really is, especially in our work or in our personal lives, is that we have the freedom to do whatever it is we want. And I think, as you were sharing, while that is awesome,
can be,
it can also be challenging to figure out, okay, if I have the ability to do all these things, now I have to figure out which one to do. And I think, like you shared, that's one of the biggest challenges for new leaders, or even leaders who've been there a long time, or business owners, is yes, I now have the freedom to do whatever I want. And so often I think that gets more people stuck than, because in the past they had someone telling them what to do. And so they
Or
weren't.
they had set demands that you have to accomplish this task by Friday.
Correct.
So it wasn't, at many jobs I was at, they didn't tell me what to do. It's just the expectation is by Friday at 5 p.m. you've accomplished this much. How you get there, they don't care about, right?
Isn't that still telling you what to do?
No, I think in some jobs they were telling me what they expected to have done, but not how to do it. Right. So there are 3 degrees to this, right? There's you work at the ice cream shop and they tell you go up to the counter and ring people out and give them their dips of ice cream. The second level would be, hey, you're the manager of the ice cream shop and don't let anyone wait in line for more than 30 seconds. How you do that's up to you. You could serve 8 people at once, I guess, or you could do it however you choose. And then the third option would be the owner. Hey, guess what? You own an ice cream shop, figure it out.
Yes. And I think at some point still, there's, I think, the difference between what to do and how to do it.
Right.
So yes. I think that when you are in a role where you have a business owner, leader, or someone telling you what needs to be done, what to do, they're not necessarily telling you how to do it. They may allow you some freedom to do it however you want, which, just like as you're the leader trying to figure out what to do, figuring out how to do it. If you're the brand new ice cream scoop person, you're like, well, okay, I guess there's a bunch of different ways that I could. This is the way I've always done it. And yet I watched somebody else do it some other way. And I'm like, oh, wait a minute. That may be more effective and efficient, and I can scoop more, or I can get it in the cone more effectively. So that means it looks like there's a lot of ice cream, yet I'm not giving them a lot of ice cream, which the owner would like because that's cutting down on costs.
The hard one's the soft serve cones. I know this from experience. That's art.
The big swirl, getting the swirl.
Yeah. Yes, getting it so it doesn't come off the sides takes some work.
Or that there's a big hole in the middle.
Right.
Have you ever gone to, how they have like the frozen yogurt places?
Yeah.
Where you go and they have all your choices and you can do it. Well, I can remember going there and like picking out my cup, and I was swirling it, yet there was always a hole in the middle. I was like, well, how do I get rid of the hole in the middle? Because I would really like more ice cream or whatever it was, soft serve yogurt. So that was always a challenge. So there are lots of different ways to do it, I guess.
And I think the other challenge for the owner is not just how to do it, but there are a lot of competing interests.
Sure.
I look at Monday morning. It's Monday morning, and I've got a list of 6 really important things I need to do today. I'm not sure I know exactly which of the 6 is the first one on the list. And some are dependent on weather. Some are dependent on other people's schedules. So even if I manage the perfect list of my day, there's the opportunity or the challenge of adapting to other people's lives too. And I think that adds a layer of complexity to it that we often don't think about. And also, we don't get trained on this. There wasn't really much in high school or college about how to manage your day. I don't remember any course in that. I don't remember any class in that. The closest you would get was probably 9th or 10th grade, where they managed how you did a research paper. Hey, make sure you get the books out of the library this week. Make sure you get the note cards done. 50 note cards this week, 50 more next week. Okay, now write your outline. Then, can you tell I did this a couple times teaching it?
It's a lot of note cards.
Yes, and the best part was the students thought that I read them all. I took a big box of note cards home. It was horrible.
Then you just threw them out.
If only. So, but we don't really get a lot of that instruction about how to manage our time, or frankly, how to prioritize our time.
Sure.
That's something that I think I had to learn as an owner. I think that's something that I've helped a lot of people figure out. And it's really hard to do by ourselves because we tend to not be able to look at it objectively.
Right. We
I
have
think
another
I think
perspective.
what happens to me is I tend to do the things I like to do.
Sure.
Uh,
Or
And
you're good
so
at.
or that I'm good at. So they become the priority, and the things that I don't like to do that would really help drive my business growth sometimes get put to the side. Oh, I'll do those this afternoon. Oh, I'll do those tomorrow. Oh, I'll do those Friday. Oh, now it's Saturday. Oh, let me put it on the list for next week. And before long, it's not being done for weeks. And I was talking to someone a couple weeks ago who hadn't invoiced in 3 months. They hated invoicing. It's like, those people owe you money. I know I got to get to it, but I just hate doing it. I have to figure out the hours. I have to figure out the paperwork, and it's just a giant pain. It's like, well, you realize there's a whole bunch of money that you could get if you actually invoice people. Plus, if you invoice them 3 or 4 months later, you're probably going to upset some people. Are like, oh, wait a second, that was January's bill, and now we're in July.
Correct. Yes.
Yeah.
Not and yet at the same time, you at least created some control in that you chose to put some of those things off. So you at least took some action. And I think that's one of the, and in some ways that is freeing, is that you're like, okay, even though it may not be the most effective choices to make, you made a choice. And so you were allowed to move forward with the other things that so you at least prioritize that. Here are the things I like to do. Here are the things that I'm good at. And I know that. So at least I can move forward. I think a lot of times people don't even get that far. And so they end up back where we were last week, which was stuck. And I think sort of at least trying to create some sort of strategy around how am I going to attack all these things I have to do so that there is some control. Again, then you can judge if you want, although we would rather you sort of measure and learn from the choices that you make. And yet I think you still have the opportunity to choose, which I think sets you free a little bit.
Well, maybe it'd be helpful, Tom. You talked about being stuck in this situation. Maybe it's helpful to just talk about what that stuck looks like. And I think the things that come to mind for me, well,
Didn't we
I
do
think
that last week?
we did, but in terms of this in control, right?
Okay.
Having some control. I think stuck having some controls, like you said, having different things that you can do and making a choice and maybe not feeling good about it. I know that's happened to me sometimes where I've built my schedule for the day and it's like, I don't know, is this the right schedule for today? It's almost like a mock football draft. It could go this way or go this way, right?
Yes, which means now you're stuck in judgment. So, that's I guess, that is the challenge as well, is we can very easily go from stuck to feeling free to being right back to stuck again, depending on how we choose to. And I think some of it is the control we have over avoiding things like judgment. On the other side of it, we've chosen some way, whatever the way we believe, the things we like to do. Maybe some people are like, I'm just going to do the things I don't like to do, even though they're not truly a priority. They just feel like, okay, well, I'll do them and get them out of the way. That's a choice. They made a choice. So they have some freedom in that regard, is that they're not still trying to figure out what to do. And yet then once they have done it, even though they were temporarily free because they had made a choice, they fall back into being stuck because they now start to judge it and wonder why, coulda, shoulda, woulda, this wasn't correct, this was right or wrong, or all of that can very quickly take us from feeling free to take us to really feeling stuck again.
Do you have your one thing?
I do.
All right, I'm ready for it because I'm not sure I have mine yet.
So I think one of the things about feeling free, if we're talking about I'm free now, rather than being stuck, and one of the ways we do that is we have some sort of control. And I think that is the control is choosing how we will prioritize things, so that we can take a step, choosing not to fall into judging that step, just trying to learn from it and move forward. And I think that if we set up some systems and strategies that allow us to keep moving forward rather than falling into the trap of being stuck, either in not knowing what to do or how or which way to do it or which to do, or even once we've done it and have that momentary freedom, now looking back and judging it. And so I think so often we just do. And typically when we just do without a strategy or a system, it can be very easy to fall into judgment. So even though like I'm doing things and then I look back at the end of the day and like, well, I didn't really accomplish anything. I did a lot. Yeah, it was a lot of things that didn't help move my organization, my team, or my business forward. And I think there's that false sense of, hey, I did a lot. So now I'm going to judge the day, or I did a lot and I really didn't get anything done. So to me, it's about how do you create strategies and systems so that it's easy to understand, or not easy, but it's, what the next step is to avoid falling into the trap of being stuck.
I like that. I would go, I would agree with all that. I would add to it that it's not, I think my one thing is that it's not really our fault that we don't know how to do this. And you can read all the self-help books you want. You can watch all the YouTube videos. You can get your Filofax and your Franklin Planner and your this and that and all those opportunities. I think ultimately it's really about customizing a system that works for you. And I think that really does require someone with an outside perspective, because it's very hard when you're in it to see it. I know when people have said to me, I had a coach years ago and she was like, well, tell me what your day looks like. And I told her the general things. And then she said, all right, do me a favor, block out 15 minutes tell me what you do every 15 minutes. We found that in 3 days, I wasted close to 9 hours. And that was conservative estimating. And I do that once a year, and I'm amazed at how much wasted time there is. Or how often the trip to the post office ends up being, it could be a 15-minute trip, but it becomes an hour and a half because I've got to go here and here and here. Or the dry cleaners, because I just choose to not do the things I should be doing. So in my schedule, well, there are things we should be doing, right?
Well, there's things there are things to do.
Right.
Should, would, could.
I would argue invoicing is pretty important. That should probably happen.
Yes. And when?
Sooner the better for me. I like getting paid, but that's just me.
Yeah. And I think that if we get into that, I think there's one thing to understand. What am I learning from what I have done? Maybe I'm not getting paid, and that means I'm not able to do this, that, or the other thing. Interesting. I need to come up with a new strategy. Saying I should, again, to me, this is the I think I talked about this a while ago, is that should is something you really don't want to do.
Okay.
And it's kind of like need. Do I need to do, or I want to do it?
Right.
And if we said I should do invoices, I want to do the invoicing. I want to do the invoicing. I want to do the invoicing, so that it becomes something we desire rather than something we like are frustrated, concerned about. Should, to me, just heads you back to being stuck.
Okay. All right. I can live with that.
All right. Cool. All right, everyone. If you have a one thing that you'd like to share, please feel free to put it in the comments, because there might be somebody out there who didn't really hear what Bob and I had to say, or it just didn't impact them the way it might have. And what you share might be that thing that helps them go from feeling stuck to feeling like, maybe I am free. And maybe I do have some strategies and systems. And if none of those work and you're still stuck, you're feeling like you need some help about how to become more free, please feel free to reach out to Bob or me, because that's what we love to do, is help people how to get unstuck. and figure out how they can take their next steps, avoid the traps of judgment, and continue to move forward to achieve what it is they want to achieve. And being a part of our Renegade Success Network, we've helped others do that so that they can truly feel more free. Or if they're stuck, can come to us when they need it as a part of our solution sessions to figure out what's the next step. So if that's something you'd be interested in, please let us know. Otherwise, you can join us also in our Facebook group, Sculpt Your Business, because what we're doing there is trying to help people go from chaos and confusion to confidence and control. So we look forward to seeing you inside of that group. If not, we'll see you tomorrow morning, 7 a.m.-ish Eastern time for our next episode of Today's Antidote.
Hey, whatever you do on this beautiful Monday, embrace the renegading you. It's so worth it.
Yes. All right, everyone, go out and enjoy your day. We will see you soon.
You're probably saying, what can I do on this Monday to change my life? Well, you need to sculpt your business, and we're going to help you do it. We can take you from chaos and confusion to confidence and control. It's easy. It's quick. We will make you a lean, mean fighting machine, as they said in, what was that movie? Stripes. Yes, that's what we'll do for you. All you have to do is go to renegadesuccessnetwork.com to find out more or track down Tom or me. Hope to see you soon.